Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 10th December 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. First, let us start with finding the stocks near half-yearly demand zone. No stocks are available. Half-yearly time frame. Stocks near half-yearly supply zone. We got one stock. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study this report and then proceed further. In case if you don't understand how to study the report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, now let's move on to the next time frame, quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. One stock is filtered. Next, quarterly time frame. Stocks near quarterly supply zone. 5 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. 4 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame. Stocks near monthly supply zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame. Price closed inside monthly demand zone. These monthly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, monthly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got 14 stocks. In these 14 stocks, price closed inside the monthly demand zones. And in these demand zones, we can identify high probability setup related demand zones based on monthly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence, monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 9 stocks. So price closed inside monthly demand zone, and these monthly demand zones are having but sideways you should ignore. So let me keep even that filter. Trend based on zone violation and monthly time frame. Trend should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So now we got only 8 stocks. Because EMA Confluence with sideways market does not be any effective. That is what I explained in our training lesson. EMA Confluence training lesson. So these are the high probability setup zones where price closed inside monthly demand zone. Okay, next, monthly time frame. Price closed inside monthly supply zone, and these monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So pierced count, monthly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Now 12 stocks are filtered. In all these 12 stocks, price closed inside monthly supply zone. In these stocks, how many of these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence? Let's filter them. In the EMA Confluence, monthly time frame, monthly supply zones having monthly EMA Confluence. And also trend should not be sideways. So in the trend monthly time frame, selecting up or down trend. Now we got 3 stocks. These 3 stocks are having monthly supply zones with monthly EMA Confluence and price closed inside monthly supply zone. Always look into the search strategy. You will understand. So this is about monthly time frame. The next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone. 9 stocks are filtered. Next, weekly time frame. Price near weekly supply zone. 14 stocks are filtered. Next, weekly time frame. Price closed inside weekly demand zone, and these weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count is 0. That means zone is not pierced. Let's filter. We got 10 stocks. In these 10 stocks, price closed in the weekly demand zones. Okay, among these 10 weekly demand zones, a few can be high probability setup supported demand zones. Let's filter them based on EMA Confluence. So weekly time frame, weekly demand zones having weekly EMA Confluence, and trend should be either up or down but not sideways. We got 3 stocks. Okay, next weekly time frame. Price closed inside weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So weekly time frame pierced count, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got a big list. First 15 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 47 stocks are filtered where price closed inside weekly supply zones. In these 47, some high probability setup supported weekly supply zones. Let us filter based on the weekly EMA Confluence. Supply zones having weekly EMA Confluence. So weekly time frame, weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence filter is enabled, and the trend on weekly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter. So we got a reduced list now. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 19 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near daily demand zone. We got 8 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. This demand zone is not valid. It is a pierced demand zone. We don't have any valid high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Let's find the stocks near daily supply zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity supply zones from this list. Laurus Labs is having high liquidity, 70 daily supply zone, and Tata Power is having a high liquidity daily supply zone. So we have identified 2 stocks. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Price closed inside the daily demand zone. These daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. Let's filter. We got 9 stocks. Currently price closed in these 9 daily demand zones. Out of these 9, few might be having high probability setup based on daily EMA Confluence. Let's filter them. In the EMA Confluence at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence, this filter is enabled. With this filter, out of 9 we got 4 stocks. Price closed in the daily demand zones, and also these demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence. Okay, next, for daily time frame, price closed inside daily supply zone. These daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced column, at daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got a big list. I'm scrolling the list down, first 15 stocks. Total 42 stocks are filtered. In these 42 daily supply zones, few can be high probability trade setup based on daily EMA Confluence. Supply zones having EMA Confluence. Let's filter. In the EMA Confluence, daily time frame, daily supply zones having daily EMA Confluence, and the trend on daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter. See now from 42 the list is come down to only 6 stocks. This is how we are filtering high probability setup supported zones. Okay, this is about daily time frame. Next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Next 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone. We got 16 stocks. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 16. Next 125 minutes time frame. Sorry, the next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. We got 4 stocks. Let us find high liquidity zones from this list. MFSL is having a high liquidity zone. Tata Steel is having a high liquidity zone. TI India is having high liquidity demand zone. So total we identified 3 high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Okay, next 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. We got 14 stocks. We need to identify high liquidity supply zones from this list. It is a pierced zone, so not valid. NIFTY PSU, but this is a indices, so we can't use it. In F&O, it is not listed. KEI is not valid. It is a pierced zone. LODA is having a high liquidity 75 minute supply zone. LTF, L&T Finance is having so we have only 2 valid high liquidity 75 minute supply zones from this list. This is the first one, KEI, and the second one is sorry, not KEI, LODA. LODA is having, and next one is LTF. Okay. So this is about 75 minutes time frame. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 9 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Out of these 9, how many are having ITF or demand zone confluence? Let's filter. 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I'm enabling the filter. With this filter, out of 9 stocks, we got 3 stocks. In these 3, again, first one is not valid because it is having a pierced demand zone. Okay, next 15 minutes time frame. stocks near 15-minute supply zone, 6 stocks are filtered. Let's identify LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I'm enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of 6 stocks, we got only 2 stocks. In these 15-minute supply zones are part of the 75-minute supply zone. Next time frame is the 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Let's find the LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I'm enabling that filter. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. In these 3, third one is not valid because it is a pierced zone. It is having. Okay, next for 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone, we got 8 stocks. Out of these 8, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. I'm enabling that filter. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. Out of these 2, second one is not valid because it is a pierced supply zone. Okay, this is about stocks near demand and supply zones. Next, let us identify NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let's start with NIFTY, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. This is monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into zone column to find high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find pierced zones. You can't use them for trading purpose. And always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. This is the way you should apply for the rest of the supply demand zone chain reports. Okay, next, NIFTY weekly supply demand zone chain. Next, NIFTY daily supply demand zone chain. Next, 125-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, NIFTY 75-minute supply demand zone chain. Next, NIFTY 25-minute supply demand zone chain. Next, NIFTY 15 minutes supply demand zone chain. Next, NIFTY 5 minutes supply demand zone chain. If you want to look into more demand zones, I am scrolling the list down. Okay, this is about NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. That is nothing but NIFTY Bank. So I am generating monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 125-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 75-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 25-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 15-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next set of reports are about bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. First, let's start with bullish trade setup monthly income trade, entry time frame daily, entry zone demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame. I am selecting bullish. The daily demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to daily demand zone. Now let's filter. Now total 20 stocks are filtered. The first 19 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So all these 20 are bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. And entry zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 20 daily demand zones, there could be some high probability setup demand zones might be available. So we need to filter them based on the concepts you learned in lesson 27. So the first filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is a daily and weekly demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With this filter, we got 14 stocks. Out of 20, 14 are filtered further. So in these 14 stocks, daily demand zones, the entry time frame daily demand zones, all these are all daily demand zones. They are part of the weekly demand zone. Because daily is part of the weekly zone and the weekly trend, that is ITF trend, is also uptrend. If these weekly zones are having weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Let us filter those zones. So in the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. So weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. I enable the filter. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. Out of 14, 8 stocks are filtered. These 8 are even more high probability trade setup supported daily demand zones. Okay, next filter is based on LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Next, the second filter, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, we did not get any stocks. Let's verify, because no stocks are filtered. Daily entry time frame is demand zone. OE score greater than 12. Bullish or bearish trade setup, and daily we selected bullish. Demand zone confluence we selected monthly and weekly, monthly and daily, and weekly and daily. It is perfect. So that means there are no stocks currently supporting LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Okay. Next, let us look for bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame daily, entry zone supply zone, Bullish or bearish trade setup at daily, I am selecting bearish. This daily supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to daily supply zone. We got 4 stocks. These 4 are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade, and entry zones are daily supply zones. Out of these 4 daily supply zones, any high probability setup supported zones, let us find. First filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is a daily and weekly supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of those 4 stocks, we got all 4 stocks. That means in all these 4 stocks, these daily supply zones are part of the weekly supply zones. And weekly trend is weekly trend is down. If any of these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Let us verify. So EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly time frame, because daily zone is part of the weekly zone. So weekly supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence. Filter is enabled. With this filter, 2 stocks are filtered. These 2 are even more high probability trade setup supported supply zones. Okay, next filter is LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. Remove EMA filter, and in the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Next filter, weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we got 1 stock. And this daily zone is, this is the daily supply zone, part of the weekly supply zone. Both together again part of the monthly supply zone. And monthly trend is down, HTF trend. So if this monthly supply zone is having monthly EMA confluence, this stock could be even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence, monthly time frame, monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, the stock is filtered. That means the stock is even more high probability trade setup supported monthly supply zone. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Weekly income trade entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone demand zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes. I am selecting bullish. This 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count weekly time frame, I am setting, sorry for the mistake, pierced count, the entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Because we are displaying entry zones. So they should not be pierced, the demand zones. So zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All the 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. So we got maybe around 18 or 19 stocks. These are the first 17 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 19 stocks are filtered. Out of these 19, there could be some high probability setup supported weekly demand zone, 75 minutes demand zones might be available. Currently all these are all bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. That is entry time frame 75 minutes demand zones. That's why these 75 minutes demand zones, high probability zones, we should further filter. So for that we are using the filter LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 75 minutes with daily demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With this filter, we got 16 stocks. Out of 19, 16 stocks are filtered. That means in all these 16 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. And the daily trend is uptrend. Daily means ITF. Uptrend in all these stocks. If we can further filter based on EMA Confluence, there could be even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Let us find those stocks in the EMA Confluence at the daily time frame, because 75 minutes entry zone is part of the daily zone. That is what Zone Confluence. That's why we are checking daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence filter. That is what you learned in lesson 27. Lesson 27 you learned this strategy. So daily demand zone with daily EMA Confluence. Let's filter. Now 11 stocks. In all these 11 stocks are currently supporting high probability trade setup supported zones. So these are all bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry zones are 75-minute zones. These 75-minute zones are part of the weekly, part of the daily zone, and daily is having daily EMA Confluence. You can always study this search filter. You can pause the video and you can study. Okay, this is about LTF and ITF based Zone Confluence and daily EMA Confluence for demand zones. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we need to set. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Third filter is a daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, these 75 minutes entry zones are part of the daily zone, both together again part of the weekly zone. If weekly trend is up in some of these stocks, if those stocks are having weekly EMA Confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's filter. In the EMA Confluence, weekly time frame, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence, and also the trend, weekly trend should not be sideways. Because it is bullish trade setup, the trend should be uptrend. Now we got 4 stocks. These 4 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. So excellent. So this is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, report bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, supply zone in bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame. I am selecting bearish. The 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhances score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 5 stocks. Currently these 5 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry zones are 75 minute supply zones. In all these 75 minute supply zones, there could be even more high probability setup supported supply zones might be available. Some of these are already high liquidity zones. Apart from that, based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, let us filter. Not demand zone, supply zone confluence, because these are the bearish trade setups. So we are looking for supply zone because entry time frame is 75 minute supply zones. So that's why in the supply zone confluence, LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, I am enabling the filter 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got all the 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. and the daily trend is down, if any of these supply zones, daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability setup supported stocks. The one we are displaying is 75 minute supply zones. They are part of daily supply zone. Those daily supply zones I am talking about. So that's why in the supply zone confluence, something I made a mistake here. Earlier, how many we got? Okay, I think one report we missed here. Okay, this is LTF and ITF, that is 75 with daily EMA confluence. Daily EMA confluence we need to look for. So in the EMA confluence, at a daily time frame, because 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. That's why daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence, the filter is enabled. With this filter we got two stocks. So these two are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, now let's look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Supply zone confluence, because we are looking for bearish trade setup stocks. So I'm removing this EMA filter. Now in the supply zone confluence, three filters we have to set. One filter is already enabled, that is 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Second filter is 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. And third filter is daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got two stocks. Anyway, first one is not, you can't trade the first one because it is not listed in F&O. So second one having sideways, no need to look for HTF EMA confluence. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And the next income trade is a daily income trade. For daily income trade, entry time frame is 15 minutes. For bullish trade setup, entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at entry time frame 15 minutes, I am selecting bullish. And this 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement, violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhanced score 12. With all the three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Now we get good number of stocks. These are the first 15 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 18 stocks are filtered. All these 18 stocks currently supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade, and these entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. Out of these 18 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability setup supported demand zones might be available. Of course, some of these demand zones are high liquidity zones, but based on the zone confluence, let us filter. So in the demand zone confluence, LTF and ITF zone confluence, I am enabling the filter 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With this filter, out of 18 we got 15 stocks. In all these 15 stocks, the 15 minutes demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. And the 75 minutes trend is up in all these stocks, 15 stocks. If any of these zones are having 75 minutes demand zones, they are having a daily EMA confluence, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, at 75 minutes time frame, because of the 15 minutes entry demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. That's why 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. These 3 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. All these demand zones. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we got 9 stocks. In these 9 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again part of the daily demand zone. So the daily demand zone, that is HTF, if the trend is up, if those stocks are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us filter those stocks. In the EMA confluence, daily time frame. Why daily? Because the 15 minutes entry zone is part of the 75 minute zone. Both together again part of the daily zone. That's why daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled, and also trend should be uptrend on daily time frame. Then only EMA confluence makes sense. Let's filter. We got 2 stocks. So these 2 stocks are even more high probability trade supported stocks, these demand zones. And moreover, both these demand zones are also high liquidity demand zones. So these 2 are very powerful zones. Okay. Next, let us look for bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhanced score should be greater than or equals to 12. All the 3 filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Let's verify now. We got 6 stocks. Currently these 6 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry zones are 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 6 15 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. Let us filter. First, already few stocks are having high liquidity zones, supply zones, but apart from that, let us look for LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of 6 we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, the 15 minutes entry zone, entry supply zone is part of the 75 minute supply zone. And 75 minutes trend is down, that is ITF trend is down. And if any of these 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, those stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's filter them. In the EMA confluence, 75 minutes time frame, because 15 minutes supply zone is part of the 75 minute supply zone. That's why 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter we are verifying. With this filter we got 3 stocks. So these 3 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, now next filter is about LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 5 stocks. In these 5 stocks, the entry zone, 15-minute supply zone is part of the 75-minute supply zone. Again, both together part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down in 3 stocks. If they are having daily EMA Confluence, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA Confluence at a daily time frame, because 15-minute supply zone together with 75-minute supply zone are part of the daily supply zone. That's why daily supply zone with daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled, but the trend should not be sideways. That's why in the daily it is bearish trade setup. I am selecting downtrend here. With this filter, we got only one stock. So this is even more high probability trade setup supply zone. And also the supply zone is also high liquidity supply zone. That's why I already tested 2 times. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And in the final report, let us verify, let us get the stop buffers based on the daily ATR. All these are all stop buffers. First 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I am scrolling the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there you please pause the video. After that you can proceed further. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for our further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.